Hello. I am so excited for us to talk about our kids and how early they love to wake us all up. I used to be the mom who would be woken up by the kids before 6 consistently. Now it's closer to 6:30 or 7, and I find it to be a far better time for me to wake up, but also for my kids to wake up. Waking up earlier than we should is not good for anyone's mental health, not for their energy levels, and not even for their relationships with one another. Because if one person's ready to wake up and the other isn't, you're creating a dynamic in your household where probably no one is winning. So I wanted to talk with us today about 3 steps you can take to helping your kids stop waking up too early. I know it feels like that couldn't possibly be true, but it is. Our kids do wake up too early sometimes, and honestly, it's not good for them. And it's not good for you either. So like I said, I used to be the parent who was being woken up at 5:30, and it started to really wear on me and drain on me. And what I even found with my youngest is she was not only waking up that early, but she started waking up more frequently in the middle of the night as well. She was feeling like, oh, it's time for me to get up. I woke up. Here I am. I'm ready to go. And this went on probably for 6 months when she was like 3 years old. And finally we were like, enough. And I said, we need to really make sure that we are helping her understand what the expectation is, because I believe that once she knows what the expectation is, she'll actually be able to start sleeping in longer, because she'll know exactly whether it's sleeping time or whether it's time to get up. So in case we haven't met before, I'm Erin Christopoulos. I'm a motherhood strategist, and everything I do is geared toward helping you simplify your life. We're looking to help save you time, cut stress, and even get rid of some guilt, because we all know how that makes life so much harder on all of us as moms. So today I am here to help you make sure that you and your children are getting enough sleep so that you are off to a great start with your day. I am going to show you my exact system that I have used with both kids, most recently with my daughter. And it's what I do to help keep them asleep for longer, and also ensure that my morning is starting the way that I am ready to start it and when I'm ready to start it. There are times in my life where I'm sleeping in a little bit later. There are times in my life where I'm waking up at 5 a.m. and starting my day. I'm packing in an hour and a half of work before the kids are up. Just depends. But either way, I prefer to start the day on my terms and make sure that I'm starting it with the mindset and the energy level that I need. And when the kids are waking up too early, that throws it all off. So I'm guessing that you can probably relate. Hopefully by following these 3 steps, you will have less stress, because you're not going to be upset about all the early wakings. You're not going to be upset if it's interrupting your work time in the morning. And you're going to find that you have more time to be productive if you're feeling like mornings are when you prefer to get things done before the kids get up. If they're waking up earlier, that's taking that time away from you, which is the worst. And then on top of that, if you send them back to bed, it often leads to a lot of guilt, but they're ready to get up and play, and I'm making them go back to their rooms, and I feel bad about that. We're going to work around all of those concerns that you might have right now. Okay, so step 1 is to make sure that you're working backwards when you're planning out an appropriate time for your kids to wake up. I'm going to actually have all this in a blog post for you. It'll go up today or tomorrow. I'll make sure to follow up with you if you want to know that. I think I'm back. It said the connection was poor. But in that blog post, I'll be sure to put on there for you the I hope this works. If it does it again, I'm going to get off of Wi-Fi. I will put up there the recommendations for how much sleep each person should be getting in your family by age. Obviously, infants and babies, that's a different story. The first year of your life is going to be a little more uncertain and unpredictable. So we're really looking today at toddlers and beyond, even through adulthood. So I can tell you right now, as a mom yourself, make sure that you're getting at least 7 hours of sleep a night. So work backwards from the time you want to wake up to be able to figure out what time you should be falling asleep. That is not what time you should be getting ready for bed. You want to make sure you're getting at least 7 hours of sleep. So if I'm getting up, here we go. If I'm getting up at 5, I need to make sure I am asleep by 10. Reality for me is I would probably do best on 9 hours, but going to bed at 8 is not a possibility. So I shoot for like 9:30. So do that for yourself and do that for your kids. What's a realistic time for them to be waking up? So my kids are 4.5 and 6.5, and they are in bed about 7:30 on average, falling asleep around 7:30, and they're getting up at 6:30. So we're looking at, they get about 11 hours of sleep at night, and Stella still naps as well. So she gets probably another hour and a half, 2 hours there. So you really want to make sure that if your kids aren't sleeping for the recommended amount of time, you want to start pushing their bedtime back even earlier, because that could be impacting their sleep as well. Let's just say, for the ease of numbers, your child's age group should be getting 12 hours of sleep a night. So if they're waking up at 5, you're not going to be putting them to bed at 5, right? So you're going to want to also shift that a little bit later, obviously. But if you're putting them to bed too late, they're going to get even less sleep, even with the older kids. So you hear it with babies, sleep begets sleep. Same thing goes with your older kids. They absolutely should be getting their sleep. So if your child should be getting 12 hours of sleep a night and you want them up around 6:30 or 7, you should be making sure that you're walking out of their room by 7 o'clock at night. I hope that helps kind of like set your tone. So if you need to adjust those bedtimes, if your kids are going to bed at like 8 or 9 o'clock and they are under the age of 7, I would really look seriously at shifting that to an earlier bedtime. I'm honestly surprised when our friends who have kids a little older than ours, but they say like their kids go to bed at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. The teacher in me is like, oh my gosh, for the next day, that just isn't setting your kids up for success. Like, they got to be ready to go. So make sure they're getting the sleep they need. Okay, so after you've figured out what time you'd like your kids to wake up based on what time they need to go to bed and making sure they're getting all the sleep that they need, you are going to make sure that you have some systems in place so that you are realistic in your expectations. So it would be unrealistic of me to expect that my kids are going to sleep till 7 when I'm putting them to bed at 7:30. Right? That would be 11 and a half hours. No, 7 to 7. Yeah, 7:30, 11 and a half hours. That's not a realistic expectation. So I can't expect my kids that they're going to stay in their bedrooms until 7:30. But it's very realistic for me to expect that my kids are going to sleep until at least 6 o'clock. And it's a very realistic expectation that they sleep till 6:30. So in my case, I set the realistic expectation that we're up at 6:30. We also have to be up at 6:30 because we have to get the kids to school. So from there, you can also account for the fact that the kids are not robots. They're not going to wake up at the exact time you want them to, right at 6:30 on the dot, or sleep in every time. So I really want to make sure that you have a buffer built in. That's part of building your realistic expectations. This has worked well for my family. I've shared this advice with other families, and they always come back to me and say, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Thank you so much. So when your kids wake up too early, you want to have a plan for what they can do quietly and calmly in their own space. This ensures that the rest of the family gets to sleep if they need their sleep still. This ensures that if you are trying to be productive in the morning before the kids are up, that you're not upset when they wake up early, and then you're not feeling guilty that you're mad at them or anything else. So what you want to do is set up a time to wake clock in your room. I brought out, this one's Theo's. He doesn't really use it anymore because he just knows how to tell time. He knows if it's 6:30 and he can get up. But Stella has one very similar. And what I like about these, you've seen them. It's the green light for waking up. You can do ones that have like a red light for time to sleep. These unfortunately don't. I think the hatch one does. But those are pricier. But what I like about this one is it has a function for if it's almost time to wake up. So half an hour before the wake up time, a yellow light turns on. And especially for my daughter, she knows that if it's 6 o'clock, the yellow light's on, that is her time that she can have to play quietly in her room. I don't feel bad about it. I'm not telling her she has to pretend to sleep. I'm not telling her that she has to stay in her bed. What I've done is set a realistic expectation with her that that's her playtime in her room. And so there are a few things that we've done in her room specifically to really help her with that, because she is 4.5. She's been doing this for probably about a year now, so since she was 3.5. And we make sure that she has some of her favorite toys in there that she can use independently. She has books in her room that she can look at quietly. She likes to read to her stuffed animals. And by read, we mean she looks at the pictures and talks to them, right? That's what pre-readers do. Now, my other favorite thing, especially for Stella, but Theo is obsessed with his as well, the Yodo player. You guys, I'm going to do a blog. I'll expand more on this in the blog post that'll go with this live, but keep your eyes out for another post this week about the Yodo. It is our favorite. So it looks like nothing right now, but it is the speaker. It'll turn on here for you. Okay, here's what I love. It's not like a Google speaker that has a microphone, because that is just something I'm not comfortable with yet, being in the kids' spaces. I prefer something that is not listening to them. So this is great. It's internet based, but there's no microphone feature. And it can do so many things. But what I like about it for Stella is she can turn it on herself. And then it has these cards. So this is her make your own card. And what we did, she's obsessed with Frozen and Elena of Avalor. It's playing the music for her. Can you see the princess? You can change the logo. It's amazing. So she turns this on, puts her card in, has her music. You can volume control it. It is so perfect for just helping her kind of create a little atmosphere where it's like her happy place that she's playing. And it doesn't feel like I'm like putting her in jail for like the last half hour of her sleep time. So again, more to come on that Yodo player. Theo has been loving it. Actually, for evening, you can have it set to, again, because it's internet connected, it can be like a streaming device. You can't stream everything, but they have a streaming sleep radio, and it plays the best like spa music of all time. It's like nature sounds, piano music. It's like the calmest, most delightful thing. So he sleeps with that on, whereas Stella likes to wake up with it and listen to her favorite music during playtime. So just create an environment. Allow for your child to have a space in the morning where if they do wake up a little early, they know that they can enjoy themselves, but that they can enjoy it independently. I think that that's what's so key. I'm trying to think if I had another thought related to that, but just again, making sure that they understand when that time is, because if you're not careful, you'll find they may wake themselves up earlier and earlier to be able to get up and play. So I find that having something like a time to wake clock that's showing them, okay, it's yellow light time, that's your play time. Stella knows that if that yellow light's not on yet, the expectation is that she's going to be laying in her bed quietly. That works well for like if she's awake at 5, she'll often fall back asleep because all she can do is just lay there. Now, does that take some consistency and patience? Yes, we will get to that. But first, the one other recommendation I have for your kids that wake up too early, if you are also up and about and trying to get things done, you might have some light sleepers on your hands. So make sure, I will link all these in the blog post, but this is our favorite sound machine, DOM, D-O-H-M. I know a lot of different like lights. This one has like a quote unquote sound machine. The Hatch has a sound maker. This has like, you can do white noise. I never find that the speaker is truly like white noise. I like the actual kind of fan sound for the kids. I find it does a much better job of kind of muting the external sounds of the house. That goes for bedtime and times where they might be prone to being woken up a little bit too early if you're up and moving around. So feel free to add in a sound machine if you feel like that's going to help kind of buffer some of the sounds of you walking around the house, if that's something that you know is a problem. And then step 3, after you have put the kids to bed at a realistic hour and after you've set a realistic expectation for what to do if they wake up too early, and set up the space to ensure that they can be independent for some quiet playtime if it's like half an hour before their wake up time. After you've done all that, this is the hardest part. Step 3 is about being consistent. I really want to make sure that you are not giving up. You may find that the first day, 2, 3, everyone has enthusiasm around the plan, right? But then there are going to be those days where your child says, okay, that was fun, but it's more fun being with mom. I'm going to go see what's going on outside of my room. That is your chance to just stand your ground, okay? You don't have to be firm about it in like a way that is going to be upsetting to them, right? You aren't going to feel guilty about it because you've come up with a plan that is very realistic. Those expectations are not too much for them. And you are going to just calmly remind them, oh, your yellow light's not on yet. It isn't time to get up yet. I know that you don't feel really tired right now, but your body still needs some sleep, right? And the idea of you doing that now is to make sure you're not setting them up for a pattern of waking themselves up earlier and earlier and earlier. So you really want to stick with that. Make sure you are consistent. It's okay if they're awake at 5. It's going to happen sometimes. But eventually when they learn, every single time I try to get up before that yellow light is on, mom's going to calmly walk me back to my bed, tuck me back in, remind me I can get up when my yellow light's on, and will then leave the room. You can even do this. Even if it's 5 minutes before that yellow light's on, I want you to still be consistent and do the same thing. You are teaching them. This is the expectation. And you're also setting them up for success with good, healthy sleep habits, right? So you're doing this for their benefit. And they will be so excited if it's like 2 minutes later and that yellow light goes on. Like, they're going to be so excited to jump out of bed and be proud of themselves for doing it. Sometimes they'll even like stand outside the door for those 2 minutes. And the minute I hear them say, oh, the yellow light's on, step inside the room, do a quick little celebration, and then go back out and let them have their playtime. Oh, someone's up from her nap time. Hey, I'm upstairs. I'm upstairs, and Theo's in the living room. So just be consistent, and don't worry if those boundaries are tested. It's what kids by design are meant to do. They are on board with the plan at first, then they want to see, how much does mom really mean this? Is this a real thing? Eventually, when you are consistent enough, it all falls into place. I did see that Claire agreed, Bear Ruth agreed that that white noise, that sound machine is a great one. I will link that. You want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Stella Pistic.
You're who?
I'm Super Cat Speed.
You're Super Cat Speed. That is her new persona, and I am loving that name. If only I were creative enough to come up with titles for myself like Super Cat Speed. I can't even come up with a creative Instagram handle. Okay, and then Tierney, I am loving what you're having to say. And yes, I can't read. I don't have my glasses on. Getting a play area for the kids instead of jumping on the beds. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. So in both of my kids' rooms, they do have a play table space. And you could even set up, some people who have the time and capacity or the motivation enough, they will set up little like invitations to play, just little scenes or new toys that they rotate into the space to help kind of guide the kids out of the bed and into like a better play space. And again, the Yodo player, stay tuned. I have a promo code for you. So if you are like, yes, I need one today, just DM me. I'll get you the code. Those are the cards. What was I gonna say about that? So by playing that music, like keeping the player on the other side of the room could be great for kind of getting them away from the bed space and over to more of a play space. That could be really helpful as well. And Aunt Claire says, hi, Super Cat Speed. Okay. I think those are the 3 tips.
And this is my clock.
That's your sound machine.
My sound machine.
And this is your
What is it?
clock. So, 3 tips, 3 steps. I'm going to break this all down for you in a blog post with all the products and everything else, but really, you don't need a lot of products to make this help. You can very easily do it with what you probably already have. If you were going to buy one thing.
And one time.
If you're going to buy one thing,
Yeah,
I would have it be this. If you are like, nope, I love the music player that my kids could do it themselves, this does have a sleep function, like an alarm where the light around it, you can set it to be a color. I don't think it has like the dual time function where it's like playtime, you can leave your room time. But if you want it... I'm trying to talk to some people who are listening. Can I finish my turn? I'll let you say goodbye before I'm done. Anyway, we need to wrap this up. Anyway, the Yodo you could have it be like, set a color, we do yellow. You could have it be, when the yellow light's on, you can play, and then I'll come get you when it's time to wake up for the day. You could do that too if you're feeling like you only want to purchase one thing and you really like the idea of the Yodo music player. That could totally work just fine. We just happened to already have time to wake clocks that had that double function of a playtime, quiet playtime, and then an actual wake up time. I actually think it's intended to be like you're supposed to use that yellow light time for them to just lay in bed quietly, but I honestly think half an hour to lay awake quietly in your bed is an unrealistic expectation, developmentally speaking. And honestly, if they've gotten a good night's rest, it's not realistic to expect them to just lie there. So 3 steps: set up a realistic bedtime, set up a space that your kids can comfortably play in, and some routines that set them up for when they know, okay, I can wake up now, but I still have to be quiet, or I can wake up now and leave my room, and then practice that with consistency. You will find that slowly but surely, your kids will start sleeping a little bit later. They won't be waking you up at 4:30 and 5 in the morning. If you get stuck, DM me. I'm happy to help. It's what I do literally all day, every day. Sit here and help moms solve the tough problems of their lives. So feel free to reach out to me if you try these strategies and things still aren't working. I will be sure to put in my stories when that blog post is up. Both kids are home today, so I'm not sure it'll happen today, but for sure by tomorrow. If you want to make sure you know when it's up, you can just DM me. Say, hey, let me know when that blog post is up. Drop it in the comments, whatever. I'll make sure you get it. Yeah, I'm so excited for you to get a little more sleep or be able to be a little more productive before the kids get up in the day and start the day. And I hope your kids get more sleep because of it, and you too, so that you all have the energy you need to get through those long days. So thanks for joining us, and I think you had something else you wanted to say. Was there one more thing you wanted to turn?
I'm a snack.
Snack time. All right. You want to say bye to everyone?
Bye.
Bye. Gotta go get snacks. All right. Thanks for joining.
So I can't sleep.